Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang channel. Thanks for joining me once again. Today, I am sharing a Kickstarter preview of Tom Clancy's The Division role-playing game, currently up for crowdfunding for Arkhane Asylum Publishing in partnership with Ubisoft. I've had an opportunity to take a peek at PDFs for both the quick start as well as the starter set. And what I'm going to do is share some images from the quick start as I discuss the game itself. And then I will actually talk a little bit about my impressions from what I've seen with both the quick start as well as the starter set. So Tom Clancy's The Division role-playing game brings the post-pandemic survival and tactical action of Ubisoft's franchise to the tabletop, placing players in the role of elite sleeper agents activated after society collapses in the wake of the deadly green poison outbreak. Set in the aftermath of a genetically engineered virus released through contaminated banknotes during Black Friday shopping in New York City, the RPG explores a United States spiraling into panic, political instability, and violence. Nicknamed the Dollar Flu, or Green Poison, the virus devastates the East Coast and pushes the federal government to invoke National Security Presidential Directive 51, activating the Covert Strategic Homeland Division, better known as the Division. Players step into the boots of Division agents tasked with preserving order when traditional institutions fail. Missions range from combating armed factions and securing infrastructure to providing humanitarian aid and gathering intelligence in cities consumed by chaos. The game draws heavily from the lore established in the Division video games, novels, and comics, while bringing players the chance to forge their own stories in the setting. Agents can specialize in different combat and support roles, including gunner for heavy weapons and frontline assaults, medic for battlefield recovery and support, negotiator for diplomacy and alliance building, tactician for technological warfare and battlefield control, and the engineer for restoring infrastructure and solving logistical problems. Players also gain access to signature SHD technology inspired by the games, including automated turrets, seeker mines, drones, ballistic shields, and experimental battlefield tools. In Tom Clancy's The Division role-playing game, character growth is tied closely to skill domains, which represent broad areas of training and expertise used by Division agents in the field. When an agent unlocks a new skill domain, they automatically gain access to the two associated skills, expanding both their tactical options and role-playing capabilities. The game features 6 skill domains, each linked to one of the system's 3 core attributes: awareness, dexterity, and technique. We have the environment domain, which reflects an agent's ability to read and adapt to their surroundings, covers awareness, intuition, and environmental analysis, making it ideal for reconnaissance and survival-focused play, which will unlock the stealth and observation skills. Then we have the bond domain, which governs interpersonal intelligence and social interaction. It measures how effectively an agent understands people, communicates under pressure, and builds relationships. That unlocks knowledge and dialogue. Then we've got the physical domain, which is focused on raw physical ability and combat training. The physical domain represents an agent's conditioning, endurance, and close quarters combat skills. This will unlock athletics and melee. We've got the accuracy domain, which centers on firearms expertise and combat precision, reflecting an agent's skill with ranged weapons and knowledge of firearm operation and maintenance. This unlocks both light and heavy weapons. We've got adroitness, which focuses on practical technical skill and hands-on expertise. It emphasizes problem solving, precision, and field utility, unlocking crafting and medical. And then lastly, we have the tech domain, which governs digital systems and advanced SHD technology. Agents specializing here excel at hacking, bypassing security, and deploying division gadgets. And this will unlock gadgets and security. Together, these domains define how an agent approaches missions, whether through combat, stealth, diplomacy, engineering, or tactical support. Because each domain unlocks two related skills, specialization encourages players to develop distinctive roles within the squad while still contributing to the broader mission. The RPG balances tactical combat with role-playing and survival elements. Beyond firefights, players are expected to navigate fragile communities, make difficult ethical decisions, and determine who deserves help in a fractured society. Relationships, trust, and rebuilding efforts matter just as much as firepower. Enemies include many of the iconic factions from the video games, such as Rikers, Cleaners, the Last Man Battalion, the True Sons, Hyenas, as well as the Outcasts. Mechanically, the game introduces the new Grizz system, Gather, Roll, Indicate, Succeed, which uses between 1 and 5 10-sided dice. Players select one die as a resolution die once they've rolled all their dice, and then compare it to a difficulty set by the coordinator, the game master in this case. Results range from catastrophic failures called fiascos to exceptional successes such as tour de force and feat outcomes, helping keep gameplay fast and cinematic. Characters are built around 3 core attributes: awareness, dexterity, and technique, alongside specialized skill domains that reflect SHD training and field expertise. Combat emphasizes tactical positioning and teamwork, with battles designed to be played on hex-based tactical maps using miniatures or tokens to recreate the strategic feel of the video games. The introductory quick start adventure Ashes of Murray Hill sends new agents into a dangerous nighttime mission in East Manhattan, and is designed to be completed in under 3 hours. The upcoming starter set also expands on this adventure. It does include a 0 session and a 3-act campaign opener entitled Baptism of Fire, intended to launch a far longer story campaign, which will be continued in future releases. This crowdfunding campaign includes the Division starter set, a boxed introduction with rules, setting material, maps, tokens, pre-generated agents, and an introductory mission, the Agent's Manual, the full player-facing core book with character creation, progression, equipment, and world lore, as well as the Coordinator's Manual, a GM-focused guide with adversaries, mission-building tools, and rules for running operations in the shattered United States. There are also other pledges available, including decks of cards, battle maps, miniatures, dice, etc. Blending tactical combat, survival storytelling, and moral decision-making, the Division RPG aims to recreate the tension of rebuilding a broken America while facing threats both human and biological. As I mentioned at the open, I have had the opportunity to check out both the free Quick Start PDF, which I will share a link to down in the show notes, as well as a PDF of the starter set for Tom Clancy's The Division RPG. So I'm going to share some thoughts about it, some observations. Now, please keep in mind, this is not a review. This is a preview video because I obviously have not had an opportunity to actually get my hands on the final physical product. So I don't provide review scores for Kickstarters that I just check out PDFs of, but I will share some observations. Now, I should also mention I am not some expert on The Division by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, I never actually played the 2 video games. I'm familiar with the premise. I know the storyline, just never got around to playing the video games. I don't have anything against them, just hadn't gotten to them. But I do like the premise of this storyline. So as far as the game itself, it is a dice pool system. If when I was kind of giving you a rundown of the game, if that didn't come across, you're going to roll 1 to 5 10-sided dice. That's going to be built off of your attribute as well as your skills. And then from that pool of dice you roll, you're going to choose a single die as your resolution die. So even if you roll 5 10-sided dice, you're going to just choose one die. Now, there is a challenge number that needs to be met or exceeded in order to succeed at whatever you're trying to do, be it if it's some sort of physical action, some sort of negotiation, using weapons, what have you. They all use the same resolution mechanic. They all use the Grizz system to resolve any sort of action, which needs a die roll, because dice should only be rolled when it has meaning to the story, as opposed to just randomly rolling dice all willy-nilly. So as far as that goes, you're going to choose your resolution die, and if it meets the number, then you succeed. If it's lower than that, it's a failure. If it's a 1, then it is a fiasco. So it is a failure plus something else narratively goes wrong. Now, if you roll 1 or 2 more than the challenge number, then you're looking at a tour de force. So it is a success plus some sort of bonus narratively. And if you roll 3 or more higher than what you are looking at as far as your challenge number, then that is a feat, that is a success, plus a mechanical bonus of some sort, which is going to come into play. So I do want to point out, this is very cinematic in its approach, because if you think about it, it's not going to be all that difficult to succeed and get a tour de force or a feat when your challenge number on average happens to be a 7. So if you're looking for a real gritty, by the skin of your teeth sort of action resolution, this is not going to be it. Like I said, this is going to be very cinematic. As far as combat goes, you are looking at some abstraction here. There are some details. There are actually strategy points that can be utilized and spent by members of the team to perform special actions. Although, weirdly enough, suppression fire actually costs a strategy point. I would have thought that'd just be a free action to perform, seeing that you're not actually looking to hit anybody, you're just trying to pin someone or keep someone's head down, prevent them from taking any action against you. Maybe that'll be addressed in the final product. But like I said, I thought that was kind of odd. Also, once again, it's relatively abstract, even though you're playing out your battles on a hex grid on a battle map. There are still abstractions. So this is not going to be some really detailed tactical simulation of the battlefield, which it doesn't need to be. This is a role-playing game. This is not a man-to-man combat simulator by any stretch of the imagination. But there might be some folks out there who are looking at this thinking, oh, wow, this has probably got some really, really detailed combat. It doesn't. It's not super abstract, don't get me wrong, but it is not super crunchy either. It is far more narrative in its approach than being a tactical simulation. So just letting you know. The Quick Start Adventure as well as the Starter Set Adventure, they're both pretty interesting. Like I said, I'm interested in the setting. I really like the whole storyline here. I think it could be very, very cool. Like I said, I only know a little bit about the Division. So whatever releases are down the line, I'll be very surprised by the storylines. I got to be honest, I'm not sure if the plan of attack for Arkhane Asylum Publishing and Ubisoft is going to be to pretty much stick with the video game storyline, or if it's branching off. I assume it's branching off and going to allow the players to trailblaze their own storylines. This is also a very narrative role playing game. Important to keep that in mind. So, as far as the starter set and the quick start, this isn't going to include everything. So, I assume there are more downtime activities, but this does strike me as being a very scene based, linear role playing game, which is fine, especially if you're interested in a narrative approach. So, just wanted to point that out as well. This is pretty impressive, I gotta say. As far as the starter set itself, it's got a lot of content packed inside. It's got battle maps, it's got pre-gens, it's got a couple of token sheets, it's got 3 booklets. One is a rules booklet, one is a world booklet, and the other is a mission booklet. So quite a bit of content packed within. It's about 150 pages total. So, once again, this is a preview. This is not a review because I don't have physical items in my hands, but I am intrigued by Tom Clancy's The Division role-playing game. And I'm curious to see what Arkhane Asylum Publishing and Ubisoft have in store. All right, that is it for this time out. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell, because it'll not only let you know when I share videos such as this Kickstarter preview, it'll also inform you when my live stream, the Gaming Gang Dispatch, airs Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are never going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thank you very much for watching. And until I see you next time, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.